Hello and welcome back. Very excited to be back. The consistency seems to be a key here. I've actually been producing some episodes this month, so it's been excellent. And this episode, particularly, is going to be on incremental improvements. So I'm a big believer in the law of multiplicity, and I guess I think if it's a law, often that means it's a staple. But I think a lot of people don't fully appreciate it, or people don't fully, I guess, comprehend, I guess, this idea of compounding improvement. And that's what I wanted to discuss today. But I'm going to stick true to my structure. As I've introduced the topic, I'm now going to talk about my thing of the week. So my thing of the week is, what have I done to invest in myself this week? So that could be, trying a new item, trying a new protocol, trying something different. And this week, my focus has been on writing more. So I bought myself a beautiful fountain pen, which I'm showing on the screen here, but people will just have to trust me on. And I've been trying to write much more. So writing down ideas, writing down content, just handwriting more. There's something, I don't know, that I find really, really, a high affinity to about handwriting. I really enjoy the process of handwriting. My handwriting is atrocious, by the way, for people that know this already. However, can't hurt to write more to try and improve it. But also, I don't know, just this creative flow that comes out of me when I write. So I always have a notebook on me at all times. I think I've talked about this in a previous podcast. I always have a notebook on me. No matter where I am, I have one on my persons. But now I've got a really nice pen to write. Really, I don't know, it just makes it nicer to write. So I've been trying that this week, and I've certainly noticed an increased amount of writing. But without further ado, today's topic, incremental changes. So what's prompted me to write this, or write some ideas on this, but also, explore it through a podcast, was I saw a quote from a friend who was wearing a t-shirt that said 1% better each day. And I've been, a big believer in law of multiplicity, and this idea that, improving each day. But then I thought, what does improving by 1% each day actually look like? Like what as a behavior, or what does a protocol, or what as perhaps a time investment does that look at, right? And if you take 1% of 24 hours, of course you could get, you could output some minutes and things like that. But when I think of 1% better each day, I really reflect on, okay, what in the day can I use in a small amount, can I do in this small dosage of time, right? That can help improve something about me, right? So I make a conscious effort to fix that in the day. And now for many of you guys, it could be just reading, 5 pages of a book each day, right? It could be doing 20 push-ups a day. It could be, calling a friend each day, different friend each day. Something in your life that's a very small part of your day when you actually map it out, but done each day will compound and make a massive improvement. And that I guess is the central idea. And a book that really inspired me on this was Atomic Habits, and I read that book, I believe, in 2019, and I think it's changed my life, significantly. And I would definitely recommend watching it. I believe it's by James Clear. I better check the author there, but it's it is by James Clear. It's a sensational book, and I really recommend it. Or if you listen on Audible or something like that, it is one of those books worth reading or listening to, because it really sets apart this idea that we want to often master skills. And my previous episode was on how to learn. We often really want to be able to take on something new, or improve ourselves in some way, but we're often overwhelmed by the task, but underwhelmed, or don't appreciate how much we can get done if we just stick at it each day, right? I think it's truly an incredible thing when you see people's progress pictures, or those Instagram pictures or videos where someone posts a photo a day, right? And you see each day that from day 1 to day 3, maybe they don't see any changes, but from day 3 to day 300, huge change, right? And it's just about that idea of trusting the process and making those incremental changes. So that book by James Clear is something that I really, really recommend. So as you guys know, or regular listeners, or those that are new, I like to try and give some steps or ideas to sort of put in to your mind about how to actually start this process, right? Because I think getting started and creating some inertia, or something to go forward, is the hardest part. Because I think, hopefully, I've sold you on the idea that if you improve 1% each day, that can have quite long-lasting changes. Well, how do you actually make that happen? So I think the first clear thing is you have to build a supportive environment, right? And that is through decreasing the barriers to doing that task you want to do each day. So, for example, if you want to improve your mobility, well, having a yoga mat, foam roller, maybe some, I don't know, some weights or some dumbbells or kettlebells or something at the side of your bed or at the front of your bed in your room, uh, probably is going to decrease, the effort to try and improve your mobility, right? So building that in supportive environment will allow you each day to maybe do 5 minutes of mobility, and 5 minutes a day over 300 days. We're talking about a significant improvement that you could be able to see. Of course, there's probably protocols out there that say you need to do 20 minutes of mobility and so on, but you get the kind of gist of what I'm saying. That if you're able to set up your environment to be conducive to doing this task for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, then you'll have no problem. A thing that I've done in my life is I wanted to get better at Indonesian, and I currently am on, I believe, a 900-day streak on Duolingo for Indonesian. Now that is not a flex at all, but what I will say is that my Indonesian skills have significantly improved. I was fortunate enough to go to Indonesia recently, and a part of that is because the barrier to entry for me doing Indonesian each day was very low. I got an app that I found quite engaging. This streak system was set up so that I don't want to lose my streak, so I keep doing it. Plus, I allowed notifications on my phone to bombard me with Duolingo notifications, so I had to do a lesson. And those things each day I've done it have resulted in a significant improvement, right? And I think again, the key point here is, can you build that environment? The second aspect of it is the art of reflection, right? I'm really big on reflecting and resetting, and I think a great way of reflecting is to appreciate how far you've come. So, as I said, with the idea of the progress photo, perhaps from day 1 to day 3 you see no change. From day 3 to day 10 you might not see change, right? It's the idea that we need to stick at it, and when something is written down and measurable, or we can see our own improvement by this compounding effect, we're often heightened in terms of our motivation. For me, as I was saying with that Indonesian example, the fact that I booked this trip, right, and was able to use my Indonesian, I felt really buoyed by it. I went there and I was like, hey, I actually can converse here because of the 900 days of Indonesian that I'd done. So similarly, whatever task you're setting out to do, when you reflect on it, you have to think, how is this measured, or how have I shown some growth? And that's just going to help you continue on each day. So again, if it's that mobility example I use, you've set up the yoga mat in your room, and you've got the little setup to do that, and then in 40 days time, you're actually able to do a squat, ass to grass, so to speak, or something like that, really unhindered squat. Well, you're going to feel great about yourself. You're going to say, well, I just saw progress from doing that. And I think that's a real positive, and also reinforces the behaviors that you've been doing. So I think that was the second law that I thought about. The third thing was, I guess, embracing the setbacks. So as I guess, or I should always preface that, even if you put 1% in each day, and that does amount to something, you may not end up where you want to be, right? You may not end up at the level you want. It may take a harder road to achieve that skill, to achieve that change you want to see. However, I think embracing that setback is going to be important, because I think when I think about this, I always try and stratify this as to what's beyond me, right? It's bigger than me. So if you've done, let's say, 90 days of reading 10 pages a day, right? And you feel at the end of those 90 days, look, I haven't retained much. I don't feel any smarter. I don't feel like I'm engaging in better conversation. And you feel that setback. Well, my sort of antithesis to that is embrace that and think, hey, what happens if I never read those pages? Maybe I'd have gone backwards, right? Hey, a lot of people would have given up at day 10, and I kept going to day 90. I feel really proud of that, even despite a small setback of maybe not growing as much as I wanted, or not reaching the milestone I wanted. Hey, I didn't give up. And I think that's something that's so important about this incremental change, is this idea that you can look back and be like, hey, I never gave up at day 50. I never gave up at day 100. even though I'm perhaps not where I want to be, I'm still really proud of that aspect of that journey. So again, relating it back to my Indonesian example, I wasn't able to, speak fluently, in Indonesia, but for me, I could look back and say, hey, I'm pretty happy. I could have given up at day 100. It got hard at day 200. And day 300 was pretty average, but I kept going. And you look back at that, and you embrace that. So for me, that was a real positive. So yeah, I hope that's given some key steps there and some key ideas, and perhaps sold you on this idea that you know incremental changes, small changes each day that are sort of structured and factored into your day, can truly make a huge difference. And don't be discouraged if from the first 50 days you don't see that improvement. Day 90 even you don't see that improvement. I was reading actually a paper recently, and it showed that depending on the habit, it can take between 18 and like 254 days for that habit to actually solidify. I think on average usually it's about 90 days. I'll have to look up a citation for that, but just in terms of speaking generally. So yeah, embracing this idea that improvement each day is going to make a huge change, and using those key steps I spoke about, that idea of embracing a supportive environment, reflecting on those milestones of where you've improved and where you've come from, and then embracing the setbacks, right? Thinking that even if I'm not where I am, I'm still better than I was 50 days ago. I'm still better than I was 90 days ago. Those are really important distinctions to make. So I hope to hear some feedback from anyone that's listening on what it is you wanted to do, and what have you tried to improve each day. I really would love to hear that for those listening. What is something that you've made an incremental change in, right? What have you made that slow process of, okay, each day I'm going to do 10 minutes of this, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And that has made a huge difference in my life. So yeah, I hope that was a helpful episode. I'll just recap. So starting off with my thing of the week, which was carrying a pen around that I really like to write with, and I feel that I've been writing more. I've been writing, almost every couple of hours in the day. So something that's rubbish, but anyway, it's still something that I wanted to work towards. And then I guess my key topic today was incremental changes, and sort of using the writings of Atomic Habits, which is a great book, and how that inspired me, and sort of restructured my life. And hopefully through the anecdotes I gave and some of the steps I gave, you guys can start to think about what changes do you want to make each day to contribute to something bigger. So yeah, I hope that helped, and looking forward to doing these podcast episodes more and more as we go. But please, yeah, I love any feedback, any messages, anything you guys want to hear more of, let me know. And yeah, I'll keep posting, and I'll keep at it. So thank you.